All right, here we are again. This is QuadraDev Talk Shop, episode zero point 0.4 alpha, because we're still trying to figure out what we're doing. Um, so, a little introduction. I'm Zenis. With me is Eric, Jerome, and Rob. I'm from QuadraTron. The other guys are from QuadraTron as well, here and there. Rob's from Brotherly, and Jerome, myself, and Eric also are working on a game called Deeper under the studio name Ice Planet. Today, we're just going to have a fun shop talk hour. We're just going to talk about the industry and our jobs as developers. And while we do that, we're going to do something a little bit different this time. We're going to, instead of playing a game live, we're going to have some videos that we made of ourselves playing games. That way we can focus on our chats. But we might also talk about the games that we chose, because they're games that we like. All right. Here, let's turn on the mute button. There we go. You guys can now talk. How you all doing?
Hey.
Good. How are you?
All right, good. Let me hit play on the video here. Oh, I got the music. I got to turn that down just a little bit. I thought I'd play some of the sound from the games while we're talking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then mine is especially loud, so be prepared for that.
Okay. Remind me again when I move to it. All right. How many minutes you got here, Rob? Oh, 30 minutes. We got plenty of time. All right. 15 minutes will go by super fast, and then I'll forget to switch it.
I'll try to remind you.
So we're all indie game developers, but fun, good news today. Jerome is also working at ZeniMax. What's it like there, Jerome? What was the process like?
So it was interesting. I applied for the internship back in March and didn't hear anything for a month and a half until I got a message from HR saying, "Hey, would you like to interview for this? Like they like what they saw in my portfolio and everything. Let's call me for an interview." So I thought, okay, I'll just be meeting with HR, typical first step in the interview process, like one of like 5 or 6 steps. But nope, it was with basically who eventually became my manager, and then like 3 other senior developers on the team, and that was let me know that they would like to bring me in. So
Nice.
that was a breath of fresh air compared to the 4 to 5 round interviews I had previously at AAA companies.
Yeah, it's usually really brutal. That sounds great.
Mm-hmm. Speaking to the other interns, it was the same for them too. So it sounds like they had their mind made up who they wanted after these interviews.
Nice. I wonder if it took so long because they essentially made up their mind even before the interview.
That's entirely possible. Cause we had all of us interns had a meeting with Matt Farber, the head of the studio, and he mentioned that they got thousands of applications for these internships. I guess maybe they actually did go through them all instead of getting someone they like and then throwing out the rest of the stack.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, so that's been it's been a week since that started. So that's been a lot of fun. Huge adjustment from making small indie games. But all that experience is definitely like why I'm here, though. So it's definitely a good entry point into the industry.
Nice. Yeah, it's good to hear.
Yeah. Really happy that can happen to a better person, I think, and I love that we were able to kind of help out by just making games together.
Yeah, I think I appreciate it. I can guarantee you that is if I had just only used what I had learned in school, I would not be here. Our past year and a half of Deeper, and then even going further back to Strange Stars.
Strange Stars, yeah. We got to revive that game at some point.
Right. We're going to look back at what we did and think, what were we thinking? We've learned so much since then.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's already a couple things I feel like I can pick out with the level structure of it that I feel like probably wasn't the best way to do it. But
well, we were talking about this earlier in the week. Eric was like, or last week, it was like, working at our day job as developers, we're like constantly looking at someone else's code, and I was like, I am just burned out of looking at someone else's code. I just want to write my own instead of worrying about someone else's crap. And I feel like that's what I do all day long. I'd rather just like write the code. And you're like, yeah, I know, man. Next time we're not using any of these pre-built stuff. We're gonna do it all from scratch.
Yeah. And hopefully that's not a mistake.
It's a grass is greener type situation where as soon as you have to recreate some system that you have no interest in, you'll be like, yeah, I wish someone had already done this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, you can't win them all, I guess.
Exactly.
Oh, I mean, well, I think, Eric, you said it pretty good. I'd say we did this for, like, what was it, 3 years we were working in these frameworks. And, it got us pretty far. And we were doing, it kept us from having to get involved in a lot of stuff. But, a lot of, I know myself, even though I've been doing this for quite a while, I've learned a lot since then. You've learned a lot since then. Like, I feel like, knowing what we know now, we could probably build these systems our way and feel much more comfortable with them.
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely. Between you guys created a lot of systems for what we have done. So I'm sure like having something where you created the very framework itself to integrate that into would be a simple matter going forward, or quote unquote simple.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's funny. Honestly, the bigger things sometimes were the things that were the easiest because I knew right off the bat I wasn't going to be able to use the framework. I knew I was going to have to make my own code and maybe connect it slightly to it. But the more annoying stuff is, when you're making a weapon or something, and there's the system already has a way to make weapons, but you just need to add this little thing that they don't have that functionality, and you got to kind of dig into the functions and make just a couple changes to it is rough. That's the particularly rough stuff.
I had to do that basically my whole last week was doing something like that. I ended up finding it sort of today, and it was a 2-second drop-down change, but I spent the whole week updating an asset to try to get something to work. And then it didn't update, so I don't know.
Yeah. Definitely been there before.
Yeah.
3%. R.I.P. right flipping.
Right. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because we've been using like AI at work, and I see a lot of people talking. This is kind of a weird segue, but there's a lot of younger people talking about how they're afraid the AI is going to take their job, or like artists, and I'm just like, no, I don't think that's going to happen, because we still need the creativity of the human component of it. And it's one thing, if you get something to do it automatically for you, or someone's made it for you before, but you kind of hit the nail on the head. Like, okay, cool, it works in this particular case, it's been made for, but we need something else. It's kind of like that, but it's not exactly like that. It's like, oh, you made a dual stick shooter where you use a WSD and a mouse, but I want one that uses 2 sticks, right? That doesn't, that's not immediately supported. So how do we make that work? And it's the same thing with AI. It's like, oh yeah, make me a picture of a cat in a box, and okay, Midjourney or Dolly could do that, because there's millions of cats in boxes on the internet. But ask it for something kind of like unique, something original, and it's impossible. I've been trying to get Midjourney, or is it Dolly? One of them. Trying to get it to create something for me, and all it can create is really, really bad concept art. I don't know why, but you talk to some people, and they're like, oh, it's they're stealing our work, and I'm just like, have you tried to use it? Because I don't think you'd be afraid of anything if that was the case.
Yeah, and even if it gets better, and it will get better. I mean, there's at least for a very long time going to be demand for artists if you can get access to them. I feel like one of the things that I'm looking forward to is being able to have passable art as someone who's not an artist and also can't get an artist in a lot of situations. So it'll be nice to be able to just make good art. But I mean, if I could afford an artist, I would rather hire an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah,
Even
absolutely.
if it's just sprucing up our program or our phase or some system that we're prototyping. It's nice to be able to have that visual representation rather than just gray boxes or things for people to paint or Photoshop.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What were we talking about that I got onto that topic?
I'm
By-
not 100% sure.
By the way, should we see a video right now? Is that maybe it's just me?
I can't see the video.
Only
Oh,
on the stream.
On
You can blow
the
up the stream if you want.
yeah, on the YouTube. I think I could turn it on here. Share my screen. I think the problem is if I share my screen here.
It's gonna look weird in the video.
No, one time I did that and it streams at source, and then I'm streaming at like. Oh yeah, okay. So I'd have to next time. Remind me to turn up the bits per second or the bit rate for the podcast. But I was doing it for when I was streaming Strange Heroes stuff. I was streaming at like 8,000 bit rate, and then I was also streaming source to Discord, and I think it like killed my network. I had to like reboot everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I turned it on. We'll see if it does it here. Hey, there's
Now.
Priel.
Yeah.
Priel, you want to join us in the chat? Just
Can he talk to us, or I guess type
he can,
to
yeah,
us?
he can type in the
Okay.
chat, in the stage chat. Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's bring him in. All right. Every time I forget how to do it. There we go.
Hello.
Hey.
Howdy.
Congrats to Trump, by the way. I don't know if you guys said that already.
We were talking about it, but yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
How are you doing, Priel? Still making football games?
No, I sort of.
Uh-oh. What happened?
Their investors hold, and then we're like, oh, sorry, we can't pay you for the monthly deal. So I was like, well, call me back when you can. So basically, they had like 10 investors who were all like football players or something. One of them pulled, and they set it up so like, okay, this investor pays for this month and this month. This investor pays for this month and this month. Whoever was supposed to pay for June and July, like, doesn't have any money. Whatever happened, they made other bad investments.
Oh shit!
Paul's working with them. It's supposed to get back on track in August, but we'll see. If it doesn't,
You know who's looking for a new developer?
oh yeah. I honestly have that in the back of my mind. Like, if I need to, maybe.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm just working on the board game and the other game.
Well,
It's
shit,
kinda nice,
man.
actually.
I did not realize. Well, I haven't talked to you for a few weeks, but it's kind of a bummer. Are you bummed?
Honestly, I'm not bummed. If I'm being perfectly honest, because it's like if things don't get back to normal, I'll be pretty bummed. But they like I went over, talked to the CEO, and like asked like a million questions, and like got a pretty large understanding of where they're getting their money from in the financials. So I do believe it just happened that like they were living like paycheck to paycheck, but like they got some stuff is gonna be more stable until the end of the year at least, starting in a couple weeks. So I think it'll get back to normal. So it's almost just like a 2-month like break to work on my own stuff, which is
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll be bummed if he was lying to me about something, and then I'd have to like look for another job. But
Mm-hmm.
we'll get to that if it gets there.
Well, I don't think you
Yeah.
have any problem finding a job, and
I figure
you could probably always come back. I think they'll jump at that chance, to be honest.
Yeah.
especially if they're losing Jerome, or are you doing part time both?
Working there about 8 hours a week now. So, yeah, I'm barely there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are they still like confused as to why people keep leaving their company for another company?
I mean, they seem pretty, or at least Kevin seemed pretty understanding.
Oh yeah, Kevin. I forgot. You guys don't deal with this in Dungeons much anymore, right?
Yeah, not much.
I mean,
Kevin's awesome. I like Kevin.
you know, no,
Yeah.
there's no big deal. We have a good time doing what we can, you know.
Yeah.
It's something,
Playing,
right?
The game, by the way. Who's playing the thing that I'm watching?
So what we decided this time is, we were trying to play games, but they were getting really distracting because we'd be trying to play them instead of talking. So we actually we all picked a game and we recorded it, and we're basically streaming ourselves playing whatever the game is.
Speaking of that,
it has been 15
yeah, I was gonna say it's been 15 minutes.
It's been 15 minutes. Rob, real quick, tell me a little bit, or tell us a little bit about this game. I've never seen this game before.
This is awesome. It's like this is Marvel Snap. It's got me completely hooked. Honestly, I think it's like the best mobile game because it's just
It won like a bunch of awards.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually a really good GDC talk too.
Oh, yeah, I watched it.
Yeah. He sort of talks about how it's I guess it would be like simple and deep, but it's not complex or something. Like he gets into the difference between like complex versus I guess like just elegant. So he had like a bunch of interesting things, like you shouldn't have information text that's more than like 8 words or something like that. Like they're keeping it as simple as possible. But it's pretty.
Like 3 minutes. Oh, the from the developers like Hearthstone, by the way. They're like,
Yeah.
Oh right, I forgot about that.
yeah.
So I guess I never played Hearthstone, but I actually it's probably the first real like sort of card game. 'Cause I don't know. I was too old for Pokemon when it came out, and I never got into like Magic or anything. But so maybe this is the first card game that hooked me. I get part of it maybe too. It's just like I don't know. There are characters in it, like the theming of it just really it hooked me too. Just seeing old comic book characters, but then sometimes like, I'll say to my wife sometimes like we watched that what was it? Was it Craven, the Craven movie trailer or something, and Rhino was in it, and some other character, and I was like, wow, Rhino, and she's like, why do you care? And I was like, I don't know, like I know his card in Marvel Snap. Like, ooh, Rhino, interesting. Like, you see things like even the like what was it? The Black Panther and like some of the Namor like underwater characters that are like B characters, but then they have their own cards, and it's I don't know, it's sort of neat to see them in the game. But it's I don't know, like it's simple and easy to learn, but there's so many like trade-offs with all the cards and stuff.
Yeah. So the games generally last like 3 minutes. And it has this very unique mechanic in card games where if you think you're going to lose, you can just quit early, and then like, for like strategic reasons, if that makes sense. So like, you can do like double how much, you like basically bet a certain amount of money every hand. And you can like double it, I think based off like mahjong or something. But if you want, you can like say, well, I'm probably going to lose this match, so like cut my losses early, which is pretty unique for a game like this, because even when you lose, it feels like you made a decision to actually win in terms of like opportunity cost. That makes sense. So it's very interesting that way. They also got like a lot of original. They have like thousands of cards. They release like 1,000 cards or something, and a lot of the artwork is done by like the original comic artists. Which
Nice.
I think
That's cool.
Yeah. So some of them is like done in house at their 50% whatever. They have a relatively small studio for a game with as big a budget as they had. Most of it's like outsourcing in QA, but like the quarter development is pretty small. But they outsource all the art to like try to find as many different types of artists as they can, like match the game. That have like alternate Iron Man costumes and that sort of thing. Variants, I think that they call them in this game.
Yeah.
But no, it's pretty. I only started playing that honestly because I watched that talk. I started playing. I was like, "This is pretty cool," but I don't really get hooked into mobile games like that. And then I watched it and I started playing it again pretty recently.
Yeah, I used to play Hearthstone back in the day, and I have Magic cards, and I've played Magic cards, and I've a long time ago I got World of Warcraft trading cards in the collector's edition, and I have a huge collection of those. But I don't get to play many card games because no one plays them in person anymore.
Well, you have to go to like cafes or something. I've started doing it because of my thing, but like people still do play Magic, and surprisingly,
yeah, a lot of people play Magic, but I don't think I don't have the patience for that.
Yeah, it's a whole different.
Yeah,
it's a whole different world. I agree.
All right, so yeah, it's pretty cool. I've liked the visuals so far, and it looks very snappy. I know that's no pun intended. Was it made in Unity?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really nice. All right, I'm gonna go to the next game, which is I don't know if you guys can guess, but well, we gotta stop this and go here. And I've been playing a bunch of Quake, so here's some Quake. Let me turn it down a little bit. It is kind of loud. There we go.
So fast.
I know. Isn't that awesome? It's like you barely live like for a second before you're dead, and then you just get spawned again, and then you keep shooting. So it's crazy. Now this is just a free-for-all server, so.
This is just your first one.
Are you playing this on like your TI-86 or something? I feel like that would be everything.
No, I'm actually. This actually is on my main rig, and it's not. I haven't really gotten it all set up properly, but there's definitely people have made new textures and ray trace lighting and all this other crap for it. So this is a server called Q3 Retro or something like that. I do have my own server running, but I thought for this having other people in there would be fun instead of fighting a bunch of bots. So, which kind of like what I want to ask, like, I know we all like got into Unity and we're doing Unity. Did anyone do any like modding and stuff? Because there's a big community for this modding these games and these old school games. And I was talking to Jerome one day, and I was like, "Why doesn't anyone make a game like Quake anymore?" And he's like, "Yeah, because that game's already made and people are playing it." And it's like, oh, you got a point
They
there.
keep trying. They made a few Quakes after this. They tried to make that full wide version of Quake.
The Quake Champions.
Yeah,
It's okay. I feel like
it's
it's not nearly as fast, that's for sure. And it's whenever I do watch some of the tournaments, and it's like 1-on-1, and it's very sneaky, and it's always like people, they'll like peek around a corner and the other guy's dead. So
there's a really good YouTube talk about there's this guy. He has like 3 series. They call like the evolution of movement shooters, which Quake started. Was like how Quake and Unreal Tournament is like, oh, they're fast as shit. You're just gonna run around and do a bunch of hops. It's all about just like positioning your hero, and then like how the pinnacle of movement shooters from nowadays is Titanfall 2. If you just pretend that the next don't exist, it's all about just like running around, jumping on walls, just jumping around the level, and just moving really fast, trying to hit people. But when your health is short, like you still have like Call of Duty health. So like you just die so fast if you're not good at it. So there's nothing that I think has like come close to this genre of game.
yeah.
It's like a combination of like large health items on the map like Halo and Quake, and speed, as well as like it's like tech skill, like bunny hopping, like there's all sorts of like little tricks you have to do when you're really good that like are like invisible to me because I'm not really good, but like people. I don't know. It's like a high skill ceiling, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah. So, I was afraid to play Quake because I'm like, oh, I haven't been playing Quake for years and years and years, and everyone's probably like super good, and they are, but like this particular case, like this is just a server filled with like 12 people. It's absolute chaos. So I was like, it's super fun because like, yeah, these guys are much better than me, and they could probably headshot me, but like. Everyone's just dying left and right, and no one cares, and it's just it was chaos. Now usually this server has like 3 or 4 people on it, not like it must have been the weekend when I made this, and there's like a lot of people here. Usually it's not this many, so it's not quite as chaotic. But
With the
Sounds
idea.
like somebody brought Quake to VR. It sounds sickening.
oh yeah, probably. What were you gonna say, Jerome?
I was going to say, what's the ideal player count in a lobby?
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out. But this is just pure chaos. There is no strategy here. It's just like randomly shoot in any direction you possibly can, and maybe you'll hit the guy that someone else has mostly killed, right? And I feel like maybe 4 players for a deathmatch might be good because that'll give you enough breathing room to kind of run around and grab pick up power ups and weapons and stuff, and you can get a rhythm going. So one-on-one, I think just is too not enough for fun. It might be good for tournament, right?
It's probably like really good.
Yeah.
But like for casual players, it's like too much looking for.
Yeah, a little too
Yeah.
sweaty for casual.
Yeah. I had a blast making this, but I guess what I was trying to say was like, a lot of people are modding this stuff, and people are like still today, making maps and things. Have you guys ever done anything like that? I know like I started off making like stuff for World of Warcraft and add-ons and things like that, and maps for StarCraft.
I used to play in the Forge mode in Halo 3, Halo 3 a lot. I also used to play with RPG Maker, which is almost just like a turn-based modding tool. I would say it's like all the classic Super Nintendo RPGs. It's basically like an editor for that. That's how I use it. They all work functionally exactly the same. I used to play that a lot.
I just recently downloaded that and started like the tutorial for it, just to try
Classic
something
RPG
out.
Maker, they still make it?
It's called like VX Ace or something like that. So it's a pretty old version, but I don't think it's like the original version. I want to say it's like 2012 or something.
I wish I could find my old games. It would be like, Goku versus Allen Iverson. Their own team. I think it's all from the Dragon from Shrek or whatever. I think it was just like a giant, terrible mix match of stuff.
Yeah, speaking of old games, like I'm trying to redo because it's the 10th anniversary for QuadraTron. So it's like I went and I got Monsters. I found like the repo that we had maybe 5 years ago for it. But it's not the original version. The original version is lost to time. Like I have no clue what happened to it. The code doesn't exist anywhere on my hard drives. But back then there used to be a thing called Unity Asset Server. It was basically the Git at the time, like version control. And it got deprecated and it's no longer being used. And at the time it's like, oh, okay, I'll just delete it, blah blah, but I never ended up backing up all the other stuff. So like tons of stuff is gone. All these little silly little games I made. I have the games, but I don't have the source anymore. So I'm like recreating Monsters. There was like a build of it like 5 years ago, but it wasn't the original game. And I'm now like kind of putting it all back together and trying to make it like the original game, so it's like a remaster, almost.
Yep, the anniversary edition.
Anniversary edition.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
There you go. Speaking of modding, I did make mods. I forgot about this. One of the reasons, the game that I've been working on for the last 3 or however many years has been started off of a mod. I wanted to try to make Super Smash Bros. Into a 3D game just to see how it would feel like as a Ring of Fire. So I got copies of Smash Bros. And I was like, it's actually, I don't know if it's fun, but it's possible. So I'm like, you can like run around. Unity had like a 3D demo project, and I imported Little Mac and Marth as characters in that demo project. You use their full moveset in 3D, and it was pretty cool. And I was like, what if I like got other characters? And I imported a bunch of characters from Unreal. Had like a tool where you could rip assets and animations from any Unreal game before like 5 or 4 or something like that. So Marvel vs. Capcom, I don't know, the one people didn't like, I ripped Chun-Li and Harry Potter from it. Not Harry Potter, sorry, I ripped Chun-Li and Hulk from it. And then I got like one of the old Harry Potter games, and I ripped mine from that. And I started making a move set, and I was like, alright. What do I do now? I just like stopped, like I got a job or something, but I like worked real hard on that for about a year, and got me into Smash Bros. Like learning way more about it, and I was like, okay, this game is deeper than I thought it was. I don't think it's actually going to translate to 3D, but
Yeah, that's really cool though.
Yeah, we need more 3D shooters. Until Power Stone makes its triumphant comeback.
I love Power Stone.
Yeah, that's an old game.
Yep.
Yeah, they don't make. There's like a couple of ones that companies that tried to remake it. So that's sort of like the inspiration for my game. That's what my game is a 3D shooter where you're really fast, and it's mostly about like short range melee weapons. So I've been doing research into like the Quakes and other like arena shooters and arena fighters, like hybrids between them. And Power Stone is like my favorite of the ones that have been aside from there's like all the anime ones. There's like Naruto. Has a bunch. I forget what they're called. Ultimate Ninja Storm, and then there's what's the show that's on Netflix right now about like the guy carrying a demon in his backpack?
It's like his sister. I can't think what it's called though.
Oh, Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
Demon Slayer. There's a really good Demon Slayer. I never watched the anime, but I've been playing the story mode, and I should just watch the anime.
That's Unitami Chronicles.
Yeah. It's pretty fun. So I'm stealing stuff from all that.
And then Budokai is Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi.
Oh yeah, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3.
There's so many of those. It's so confusing. I never really played it, but my older brother played the various Tenkaichi Budokai Dragon Ball Z games.
There's so many words, I don't know what any of them mean.
Yeah.
I keep track, but I remember liking it. I tried to download it again recently as like inspiration for my game. I'm like, oh, this would not age well. But yeah, I used to love these games as kids.
Yeah,
So all like the fast-paced, like 3D, kind of easy games where like if I don't know how to play, I can just press a button over and over, and then there's something that happen.
All right. I think it's time to move to the next game. Let's see. We'll pause this one.
Cliffy B made that. I don't know if this would help, but he made that like Lawbreakers that was supposed to be like I think an evolution of like Unreal,
Ash?
Quake and stuff. Yeah.
Is that the one where you like shoot players off a map type of thing?
I think so. Yeah. But it ended. I think there was some like grappling hooks and stuff like that, but maybe I don't know. Maybe there was wall running, but I think it ended up just not doing super well for whatever reason.
Yeah, a lot of these movement shooters just don't do well compared to this. Just the market right now is like Call of Duty or something else that's kind of.
That's why they actually call them boomer shooters.
Yeah, they do. This Star Wars. What's it called?
Darth Vader Immortal Episode 1.
It looks super cool.
This game is awesome.
Yeah, this was my first time playing. I've wanted the VR headset specifically to play this for a while, and this was me playing through like it was actually just a training room that I played through in it, but yeah, you're just basically facing these drones and droids were in through various waves, and like the later ones get a little bit more difficult. But just this is like the closest to the like Jedi power trip that I've always wanted to experience.
So is this begin your training? And you're going to be training to be a real Jedi?
I mean, that would be the idea. At the very least, I guess I could try and take some kendo lessons after this. But,
You'll be able to be able to use your lightsaber to block bullets from real guns.
That's the end goal. But, I think there might be a step or two in between there.
Okay.
You know, in the Star Wars lore, the Mandalorians, when they were fighting the Jedi, would use real guns. I think they called them like slug throwers or something, because when a bullet interacted with the lightsaber, it would then just like turn into shrapnel and hit the Jedi. Yeah, fun fact.
Good to know if you ever encounter a Jedi.
Yeah. So if you ever do get a lightsaber, don't actually use it against real bullets. Only use it against laser bullets. Blaster bullets.
There's like there's another one about old technology being good.
Yeah.
Which VR headset did you get?
So this is on the Meta Quest Pro, which I currently am using courtesy of VR.
Nice.
That's gonna stay in there for 8 hours a week. So,
Exactly. As long as I can keep this.
you should get speaking of boomer shooters, there's a game called Contractors in Star Wars as well. This is the closest I've done to that. I've heard of it. There's a game called Contractors. It's a shooter. There's a bunch of mods. There's a bunch of Star Wars mods, and it's great. Like you can play as I don't know how to describe it. It was like really weird. There's also like Halo mods and shit. So it's like a VR version of Halo basically. But the Star Wars Battlefront mod was really cool because you could play as droids or mechs or whatever, but you use all the Star Wars weapons, but you're using in VR against like other like droids and shit. It's really fun.
You said it's Contractors?
Yeah, the game is called Contractors. If you've ever played a VR shooter, you know, it has all the similar tropes, but it's not like. But the mods are, they have Call of Duty mods, the ones that I played is Call of Duty, Star Wars, Battlefront, Lego Star Wars, you play as Legos, which is hilarious.
Nice.
And they make all the Lego sounds, which is really funny to me. And the Halo one, which is my favorite game growing up, was Halo 3. So playing all the Halo 3 like maps, like walking through the Halo 3 maps in VR was a really cool experience. Especially like using the Halo 3 guns and all that stuff. They also have some other mods. Those are one that I've heard.
Okay, Halo absolutely.
Star Wars is sick.
Speaking of VR games, have you guys seen the game that Jordan's working on?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it's like kind of like a survival. What do they call those games? Survival shooter, or you know,
Like a game from Tarkov, or
I don't know because I've never really played that game, but basically it's like you get out, you have to mine some stuff, you have to make yourself a fort, kill the other players that are there, steal their stuff, that kind of thing, but all in VR.
That's cool.
And it looks pretty, like, they've gotten pretty far with it, which was very surprising to me.
How long have they been working?
I don't know. Probably as long as they were working with us. You know, and they think they've got something, and if you go to their Discord, it's got tons of people on it.
That's what's the game called?
What is the game called? I don't know. Let me go to their Discord and find out. Where is their Discord?
Two of them?
Yeah. Oh, it's called Strayed. Strayed. And I think it is just the two of them. Yeah, I don't know how much, you know, they must be using a lot of asset packs and stuff. But...
VR pops up as soon as I type it in.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on Steam already. Oh, like they're already like in early access or something?
Yeah, I
that's
guess
cool.
so. Yeah, they're going to make millions.
There you go.
I mean, you can't see how many wishes we have, right?
No, unfortunately, I don't think you can do the... They used to have, like, Steam, like, stats or whatever. Steam
It's
analytics.
always like, it's never actually accurate. Anyway, that's cool.
Well, I think before you used to be able to get it right from Valve through the API.
Oh, like back in the day.
Yeah, but they got rid of it. They closed it off.
That makes sense.
Speaking of Valve, what was they were trying to do lately? Is like if you making a AI art game or something. They were. Yeah, I know. We were talking about that, but it got everyone up in arms. Well, you know, like, because you know, there's a lot of people that hate the idea of AI art because they think it's stealing their art or it's stealing their job or something like that.
It's probably stealing. It's probably stealing.
But you know, at the same time, it's like I think they're mad. You know, just like we don't like the NFT bros or the mobile bros or things like that, and we'd be like look down upon those people. I feel like it's the same thing. Not saying that, you know, AI art games and AI games will be any good, but I don't know if we have anything to fear from that. You know, do we all fear the? I know a lot of people are mad at the NFT bros because that's all they would talk about, but you know, it's like
NFT is weird because it's like bad for the environment. So.
Yeah.
It's also like they're not selling games; they're selling like addiction and like money. It's like they're selling like get rich quick schemes, which aren't in the better disguises games, which was the main fear that I think was like you could just do this without NFT, it's just a bad game.
Yeah.
I don't know. That game we worked on doesn't look too bad. It looks like it's like actual game.
No, I agree. I think that was the blame. I'm not saying that's what I think. I'm thinking that's like the fears. Like all these NFTs are just like I guess the general perception like these are just bad games that would have been their own. Which I kind of agree. I don't think too many people would play that kind of game if it was like it has so many players for it to be a pretty mediocre game that you can make money off of. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I get it. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with it, but that's the NFT stuff. The AI stuff being theft is probably like true. I don't know how to describe it.
Well, I mean, think about it. Like, here's my argument for why that I don't agree with the debate that they're having. Is that how does an actual artist get trained? They go. No, it doesn't matter. If you don't, if you put art into like a black box and you say pick the human one, you can probably pick the human one, but you don't know how the thing that's giving you art was trained. Most likely they were trained the same way. They looked at a bunch of art and they made a bunch of art, and eventually they learned how to do a thing. But if anyone's if they have that argument, there's two arguments that I hear. The one argument is they're stealing their art, which they aren't doing. They're looking at the art, and then you giving it a prompt, and it comes up with its own take on that art, which is what any artist does. And the other thing is,
uploaded it without knowledge of this thing existing. They would have just not uploaded.
How many artists have anime logo of the anime that's a fan art that they really like, right? But they drew it.
Reframe it, all right? So imagine you uploaded a game on Steam for people to play, right? And then in 10 years, somebody made a clone of it. Somebody made a tool that could just clone it and resell it.
They already have done that. They've been doing that for years.
Yeah, and it's terrible, but it's different if like a person has to do it. If you just like make an application that can clone your game and resell it.
That's the second part of my argument, is that anyone who thinks that that's what's happening hasn't used the tools.
I know, like concept. That's practically what I mean.
Yeah, but I've tried to use it for a lot of things, and it's not able to do anything that I wouldn't find done better, right? So
I get it. I don't know. I use it like all the time. Today, I had to write a script. Well, this is different. It's not art. Art stuff and speed stuff. But I use it. I don't know. All the art in my game, which people love, is AI generated.
Yeah, and I would love to know how you got it to do even that good of art, because I can't, for the life of me, get it to give me anything that isn't just like a really low quality, low detail concept art. No matter, I can use someone else's prompt, and it still won't give me anything like what you got.
I don't know.
I think it just doesn't like it.
I'm sharing the whole thing. We can talk about that for sure. But you're probably not using the tool. Every different type of AI generated art tool is better at certain things than other things. And it's almost never like you try one prompt and you get a good thing. You can try it like 15 times to get something that looks pretty good, and you do get it as variation. So it's not like instant, but it is like in 10, 15 minutes of me asking questions, it prints out something that would have taken an artist 2 weeks to write. And it's doing it by like that. So without their consent. The issue I have is the consent. Like, they didn't upload any of this stuff to the internet with the knowledge that this stuff is there, and there's no way to opt out.
I completely disagree about the concept of consent, because if you go to the art museum, right, and you look at someone's art, and then you go home and you make art in the
comparison that the AI is a computer, but it's not, because it can do it instantly as opposed to taking weeks. I don't mind if somebody learns from my thing, increases their knowledge. I might consent to that. I might consent to somebody else bettering their art skills off my artwork.
Leonardo da Vinci cannot consent because he's dead. You know?
Well, sure, he's in the public domain. Okay, what about everybody else? I don't care about the dead people personally. I care about people who are making art and I'm losing subscribers, whatever. I don't know.
I don't think they're losing subscribers. That's the thing. I think real artists are actually doing the work still, and the people who are getting upset and mad are, not really understanding the problem. Anyway, I don't want to get too deep into it because this isn't the let's talk about AI art channel.
We talk about AI every time though, but I would say they do like I do think at some point Midjourney or whatever downloaded a lot of ArtStation images that it trained its model on, which is that's the part that, and I agree, like I agree with you. I could even give you an example. Like there was a concept artist that I liked a bunch of his stuff, and then I saw he liked a bunch of my stuff, and then he was doing like whatever, some sort of daily prompts or whatever, and I could see that he made something that was like similar to something that I make, which was fine, because it was very sort of like it was just like a color scheme and maybe like a very general composition, and I could see that he made it his own, right? So that's sort of like what you're saying, like Zen is like some of the artists do similar things to what the AR does, but like what Priel is saying is like it is trained on images that it was technically whatever it was illegal to sort of train it on, which is where the problem, like to me in some ideal world, artists would just get compensated for however it got used in the training. But I think to me the difference is like that money that would come out of it would be like cents or dollars, when maybe in an artist's mind they think they would get hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, or whatever. Like I imagine it's using so many different images and whatever to train stuff that any one particular image, generally speaking, is kind of small. But sometimes you do put in some sort of prompt. Sorry.
Most of my credit more than they want like money, like compensation. Like I can use somebody's art style completely. I don't even know that I'm using their art style completely, and I'm not giving them credit, so they're not receiving anything in return of their thing you used. And they didn't sign up for that, and then they can't like untrain. That's what I find really amazing. But yeah, it's also, I think there are some AI generated art out there that is like they're trying to figure out how to like determine as it goes through its path, like what percentage of this was this person, what percentage was this, so they can like pay out people. I think they're working on that, but as of right now, it doesn't exist. I'd be okay with that for sure.
That'd be interesting, yeah. I mean, I've seen it too, where like Greg Rutkowski is like his name became synonymous with like a digital image that looks like an old painting, but like he didn't want his name to be so like he didn't want people typing in some sort of prompt and then putting his name at the end so that it would look like a wood painting. Yeah. So, but I mean, I would be honored if, I don't know, if it was me, I'd be honored if mine was on and there's a bunch of people were typing it in, but I don't know. He was upset.
I feel like it's different if, like, that's your business. Like, his business is people probably come up to him and say, hey, we like your style, please paint this for us. But if I can now just, like, skip that step and do it for free, why wouldn't I, you know?
I guess so, yeah. I don't know.
Because like I don't know what you're doing wrong, but you can get some shit. You can get some really good stuff in terms of 2D art. I don't know how like all the other like models and all that stuff works yet, but you can get a lot of stuff in a lot of styles. You can get some photorealistic stuff. There's a lot. You can. This AI stuff is wild. I've been heavily into it.
It's only going to get better.
So let me make sure I understand. Priel is the one who's mostly arguing against my position, but he's the one that's most using the tool to make art.
I'm against using. It's accessibility. I'm okay with using it not for profit. Like I just can't sell these things. That's how I feel.
Okay.
I don't care.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
That's why I was the whole point was originally about Valve banning the games.
Oh yeah. I kind of started the conversation on that.
So we figure out like how we can get people who actually did the work as opposed to like the computer, like the credit that they actually put into it.
Well,
do you even watch your art style in my game? Like I don't know.
Well, here's the thing: you can't copyright an art style. You can't copyright an idea. That's why you can make a game clone. So if someone made Pac-Man and then someone made Puck-Man, You can. It's not.
copyright movie
You
genres.
you can't copyright an idea. So you can write a book that is essentially, Stephen King's It, but has all different names of characters and things. But it could be essentially the same story. Harry Potter was already parts of it were written many years ago by an artist or a writer named Ursula Le Guin, wrote the Earthsea stories, and that whole first Harry Potter book is basically in that Earthsea book, and that's like decades before that, and it's just an idea, and I don't think anyone is mad that Ursula, I forget her name now. I don't think anyone is mad because it's a good story, and I think the thing about copyright is its intent is not to provide the artists with a meaningless monopoly. It's to provide the artists with a monopoly so that they can benefit, but the other end of that deal is so that society itself can benefit. It can be enriched, right? So we're going to give you a limited monopoly to let you do your art, and you're going to be able to earn from it. But the other part of that is that your art is, it's limited, right? So your art can be used, fair use, can be used to learn, to teach, and to do all these other things.
That's the issue,
Yeah.
I think. The fair use law was not written with computers in mind.
Well,
So-
I mean, I think
that
that
computers like they're people, and they're just factually not people. So all the laws.
I
are
don't
not written with
yeah, I don't
concept.
see. That's because I don't
it makes
I don't
it
think it's relevant.
complicated, Is the thing. I get what you're saying, but then the problem I guess is that it then becomes a discussion that we have to have. There isn't an obvious answer because, like you said, it wasn't made with computers in mind because computers weren't really around when those things were first, when those laws were first being made.
What if
So
it's
hard to say
what
that
if
a
it's an
law would be
elephant?
broken.
Who
But-
owns the copyright to an elephant who paints art? All right. And can you be inspired by the elephant and make art in the style that the elephant makes art? And is it copyright infringement? So it's a very interesting concept or topic.
The
And I
argument is about training aspect, right? It's about whether you have the right to. Is it learning or is it copying? Because that's not the same thing, right?
Well, I think that the real test, and this is what in the copyright law says, is it transformative? So if you, that's not a door, Eric.
No, keep talking about the thing. Keep talking about the thing.
It's so in copyright law, there's this idea is the copy transformative? So you could, like Andy Warhol, copy Campbell's soup, the label from Campbell's soup, which is an artist did create that, a graphic designer, right, and maybe a photographer, and maybe an illustrator created the art for the Campbell soup label. But then when Andy Warhol comes along and he copies that, but is it transformative? Is the test? Did he enrich society by doing it? So yeah, maybe an AI being used strictly for profit to like isolate out, asset flip. Maybe that's not transformative if it's just purely copying a style, copying a character. But if it's doing something new with that information, that could be transformative. And I think in that case, I think it's fine. So the long and short of it is, it's a very there's some subtlety in this conversation, and there's some understanding of current copyright law that needs to take place.
So you're like, IP exists. Like you can copyright ideas. Like that's not true. You can have IP. I can't make a Mickey Mouse thing right now.
No, but you can make a mouse that is a character, and you can make a likeness of Mickey Mouse. And if you are doing it as a parody of Disney, you definitely can do that. So it's not as cut and dry as you're not allowed to.
For parodies where I can use Mickey Mouse in this very specific context, I can transformatively transform laws exist. That's not the issue. I don't actually give a shit about the legal, whether it's legal or not. I could care so little about that. I break laws.
But that's how we figure out these problems. We don't just go with our gut feeling.
I think so. Valve has no reason. We're talking about Valve.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's legal. They can do whatever they want.
Oh, Valve, yeah, for sure, can do whatever they want.
Right. So whether or not I think they should do it has nothing to do with whether it's legal. It is legal to use AI art right now. They went to court and they proved that it is legal. That's not the question. The question is whether it is ethical to, well, for me, the question is whether it is ethical to use somebody's art. To have a computer use somebody's art when that artist specifically does not want that computer to use it. When they did not have a choice to say no, they don't have a choice to take it down.
But if the artist can say that the computer can't use it, they can say that you can't use it because you're using a computer to view it on the internet.
Yes, exactly. That's my point. If the artist didn't want a person to use it, they could have not uploaded it. They didn't know this existed because it didn't exist yet. So my point is, I uploaded something before something that I don't want to use existed. But now I have no recourse about that. Like that's crazy to me. Like
Van Gogh didn't know he was going to become popular. He might not have wanted all of his very famous paintings in museums. He might, at the time that wasn't the case. He was a very poor fellow. Nobody liked his art. And he might have just thought, oh, the Van Gogh, right?
Well, but I think part of the thing is Van Gogh's dead.
Yeah, well,
and there is a big difference between someone being alive and having their art used and someone being dead and having their art used. For me, it's a tough conversation to have because on one hand, it's I work in the tech industry and I like technology advancing, and this is a thing that is advancing technology and it is going to be helping a lot of people. But I do also see how it is hurting people.
Accessibility that's ever happened. Like that's the benefit. It's huge for accessibility in all aspects. Like it's transformative from a technological standpoint.
mhm.
I will say that. Like I'm trying to explain. Like I use it every day. In different ways. Like
I use it every day too. I just don't use Midjourney every day. I use Copilot and ChatGPT all day long. I ask it questions all day long.
And so for me, it's like there's benefit to it and there's negative to it, and it's hard to weigh, is it worth it? Because on one hand, I don't want to have this good technology not get progressed because people don't want their art being used. But on the other hand, I do completely understand people not wanting their art getting used. And so it's a difficult thing to juggle. Because I mean, as much as it sucks, sure. I mean, who knows how long it will take for it to get to the point where I don't think it'll ever completely replace artists, but eventually it will, if not already, start to hurt artists. I mean, that is going to happen eventually. But also, like,
we're
coal.
already.
Yeah.
So,
But also, solar energy hurts coal, the coal industry.
Well,
And it stinks that it hurts the people who are working in the coal industry. I feel for them, but that's not a reason to not progress solar energy or other forms of energy.
I'm going to leave this conversation on one last comment. Back in the 80s and 90s, there was a new technology introduced that it was a very similar argument, and that was sampling. I don't know if anyone's familiar with sampling is, but music sampling, and there's one example. There's this thing called the Amen break, and it's been used in music since the early or late 80s, right, in hip hop, and it's essentially taking this artist's work verbatim and putting it into another song. But it spawned many genres of music and many artists, and it enriched society. And it wasn't just that, it's not really the talk about whether it's a machine or it's a human or whatever, but it was technology. You're able to take technology, copy a piece of the song, and replicate it in a bunch of other songs. And again, whether it's transformative or not is also part of the conversation. Also, whether or not you had enough money to defend whether or not you were being transformative was also part of the conversation. So some people had to pay a license for that sample, but other people didn't. And I think this is going to be the same thing.
You have to get your sample cleared to make money off of it, but you can sample anything. Well, you can't. They can sue you, but they won't.
In the early days, no one knew anything about this, and it wasn't until big corporations figured it out that they could sue people that they started doing it. But the Amen break is still out there, and they never sued anyone about it.
They get paid. They have to give consent to people to use it if they're going to get paid for it.
No, there's no consent. In fact, the people who had the rights to give consent never. They found out that it was happening and just did nothing about it. And then someone took that sample and put it on a sample CD, and now technically they own the rights to that sample, but they never had the rights to it to begin with.
Sure. So I'm not talking about a specific sample. I'm saying the sampling law in general. If I create something and somebody wants to use a sample of it, they have to get it cleared. They have to get it approved by me, and then it's usually we give it by saying, pay me either up front, give me $10,000, give me 1% of every sale. But to get it cleared, you have to get consent. And if you don't get it cleared and you make money off of it, then they can sue you. So plenty of people sample shit all the time. DJs.
There was also around that time there was a thing called the Black and White album. Have you heard of that?
Michael Jackson one?
No, it's the Beatles and I can't remember.
The Beatles versus the Beatles breaking up.
No, it's Jay-Z's Black Album mixed with the Beatles' White Album. It's actually
the
album. Yeah, it's awesome actually.
Yeah. And
easy.
no one paid a license for that because no one even knew who made it. Maybe they do now, but at the time, no one knew.
I think he would. Well, he can't put it on Spotify because he does, he
doesn't own it.
Allow his samples to go through or whatever.
Yeah. But you can do it if and they make money. They do make money off it, especially DJs. Like they'll make live shows that are based off of like the brand. They build off their shit, but they can't like sell that song. You can't get it on Spotify. You can't.
I have so many DJ mixes. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't know how you get it on SoundCloud.
You can't.
There must be some sort of way. I don't know. Like I listen to Meek Mill's like Flamers 5, and there's tons of like other people's beats on there.
Oh yeah, they ripped them straight from YouTube back in the day.
Is that like? I don't know. And then like that album isn't on Spotify, but it's on YouTube. And I'm sure there's ads.
YouTube pays a bulk license for a ton of music owned by large corporations.
It's also tough because he's signed to like Universal, so it's very possible he's using beats from Universal, and he got like big clearing from like his people. You know what I mean? It's possible. But usually they put mixtapes up on YouTube because they know they're not making enough money for it to be worth the lawsuit.
Okay.
This is the line that I get. For like these rappers who just like rip beats and like that's the difference between a mixtape and an album. This album has all clear shit. They're gonna sell it in stores, they're gonna sell it on Spotify and iTunes and all that. But a mixtape or an EP, not an EP. EP usually gets stuff there too. But mixtapes they'll just put it on Spotify or SoundCloud because they're not expecting money. They're just trying to build their brand off of it or whatever. And then maybe they'll release on Spotify. That's why like J. Cole's first 3 mixtapes are on Spotify because he also did a whole bunch of releases and doesn't want to go back and pay for it.
Yeah. In regards to the AI stuff in general, like, I would say, I don't know, there's so much money in it now that, like, if by the time, like, it goes through the courts, I think, and let's say they determine that, like, those models, those databases that are trained are illegal because they were trained on artists' art without their consent or whatever, I don't know, like, I just feel like by that time, because so much money is in it,
they'll figure out a solution. Yeah, they'll get a license
out. Or the other thing is too, like, I don't know, like, I think there's a better way to train it than training it just on the pre-existing art. Like I feel like you could just somehow teach it the principles of art, and then it would just make
that's actually what it does.
Original art. Yeah,
that's the problem, because that's actually what it does. It doesn't copy shit. It learns just like how humans learn, which is why it's very confusing. Because it's like, yes, it's actually doing exactly what humans are doing, like just looking for patterns and not giving that data. It's just building a web of like pattern recognition based off of like text. So like you say this word, these are general patterns that I do, and I mix and match them and add some randomness and output some art. And that's very similar to how human brains learn art from that I'm creating, which is why it's like it's not going to ever be illegal. It's doing what humans are doing. The question is whether it should, would we have to change all the laws to say, like, we built these laws with humans in mind, we didn't think about it.
No, what's going to happen is exactly what Rob was saying, is that they're going to go get a bulk license. They're going to go to, like, you know, some photo, DeviantArt or whatever, and get a bulk license to a bunch of work, and then they're going to train it on that, and then problem solved.
We already started doing that. The thing that I think DeviantArt specifically is saying, if you're an artist, you upload our stuff, you can click the checkbox and say, you have a choice. You know, you can choose not to. There's no issue there.
So I think
it's
I don't know if anyone knows what BM's was it BMCI? No. MCI? I forget what it's called. There's a licensing thing for music. I can't remember their name.
BMI, right?
BMI, yeah, that's it. You know, and they supposedly go and get your royalties and send it to you. I have never received a single royalty ever, and I know my music's out there, but you know they're supposed to on the behalf of the artists gather up your royalties, make sure that people are paying them, and send you a check for them. Mostly they just steal the money and take it for themselves and spend it on capital improvement, and they don't send out the royalty checks. But that's probably what's going to end up happening for artists. Artists are going to for all intents and purposes create quote unions of artists that want to collect royalties on their work, and they're going to go demand licenses for their work. So
I kind of hope I'd be okay with that, honestly.
Yeah, and that makes sense.
That makes sense to me too. You can either say, hey, don't use my shit, or you can say, hey, give me royalties when you do use it. And then that to me, that's the only two outlets, and then we're in gold. I can still use this. I can sell it because I know I'm not stealing from somebody. I don't have to worry about that. Like, I had their consent. I'm not stealing without sure.
Here's another solution. You hire artists who go out and you hire an artist and you say, hey, Illustrator, I'm going to pay you X amount of dollars. Please make me a number of images in the style of so and so, and then they're going to train their AI on that art. And then when someone does put in, I want an art in the style of some comic book artist, blah blah blah. That artist's art is probably not being trained. The AI is not being trained on that art, but they're going to be trained on the style that they've paid an artist to replicate, and then they can get people, because people don't want creativity from the AI. They want those styles that they can't afford to pay, the actual artist to make. Make me anime, make me cats in a box. Famous anime.
Studio Ghibli.
Yeah, Studio Ghibli, right? And then it will be able to draw that, but it won't be actual Studio Ghibli images that it's been trained on. It'll be trained on other artists who made art in the style of Studio Ghibli.
There's a guy on Instagram that's sort of doing that. He's just training it on his own art.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because then it's like he did the model that's trained on his art. He starts with the composition. He runs it through his own model. He might run it through Midjourney too, but then he edits it his own on the end. And I don't know, it's that sort of like gray area. And I also think there's like other artists out there that are using AI art. It's just because some artists are mad that it's stealing their work, that they're creating this and I think people feel empathy for them, so it creates this big sort of backlash. But people are still using it. And good artists are still using it, and I think what's going to happen is just 5 years time, people will know that there's gray areas, and then certain people will be so far ahead because they've been using it this whole time that it's going to be the same to me as photo bashing or even ZBrush. There was a time where people were like ZBrush will never have any use. All that stuff ends up getting used. It's just if you accept it sooner rather than later, you're kind of still in the know rather than just delaying the inevitable. There was even a time in games where people were like, I don't know if this 3D is going to be a thing, right? So I don't know. I think it's just a matter of time for people
it's
to
hard
have
to
it.
use. Did you see anything about the Duke Nukem guy?
No.
Did someone finish Duke Nukem Forever with AI?
Okay. Basically, so the Duke Nukem people hired somebody.
Wait, hold on. Eric, why is your druid carrying a box?
I don't know. It's like his offhand, like his talisman or something. I don't know what it's called, but I guess they can have a staff.
The box.
Yeah. Or they can have a one-handed end, just like a box or something. Yeah, it's weird. I thought it was weird.
Sorry, Priel. Go ahead.
This is a real-world game industry example of this whole concept being hilariously dumb. But it was like a Duke Nukem, whatever, PR team. They were trying to make a poster like, oh, Duke Nukem's 10-year anniversary. I don't know exactly what for. But they hired artists. It was like an award-winning artist. He had a great portfolio, exactly the style they wanted it. They hired him to do this thing, and then he made it. He came back, and everybody was like, this is clearly AI art. And it turns out that his entire portfolio was AI generated art. He just didn't tell them because he didn't like the backlash would get. So it was good enough for them to hire him, and it made good enough work and they put it out there. But then people were like, look at the fingers. The fingers don't, he has 6 fingers on this hand, 4 fingers
Well,
on this hand.
obviously he wasn't good enough if he didn't realize that he had to fix the fingers.
No,
But
he just isn't an artist. He can't fix the fingers.
well, you just don't put fingers in your art.
Hide the fingers.
What they do with the AI art is they just find ways to hide fingers. I mean, that is what they do.
They'll get better at
Yeah,
fingers
yeah.
He
eventually.
was more than just fingers, but like it came out, nobody knew any different because he's not an artist. He's just like scamming. I mean, he's not scamming. He gave them what they wanted, and they paid for.
Yeah.
It was just like everybody like they got such backlash, like, oh sorry, we didn't know. He lied on his portfolio. He was like, no, I didn't. I made all this art. I put the prompts in. Like you paid me for it. You got exactly what you want. So the question is like, did that guy do anything wrong? I don't think he did anything wrong.
I don't either.
They asked him for something, he gave it to them, and they paid him for it.
You know, is it in the contract that he wasn't supposed to give them AI art? Then no, then everything's fine.
I think he was fine. I think he's in the clear.
Yeah.
But it was like, aside from my whole like,
Well, he might not get hired again, but you know that's a whole
But
nother
yeah,
story.
there was like a whole public backlash about it, which I thought was very funny because it was like artists weren't mad about it. It was just people who were like, just as a general like, don't use AI art professionally, you're stealing jobs, which is a whole different conversation. That's a capitalism question. I don't want to talk about that. But
12 minutes over. I don't think we can cover capitalism.
Hey, hey, good segue. I know that this is a great conversation, and I know that this is every time we do this, we talk about AI stuff. You know, thanks for pointing that out, Rob.
No, but I'm totally fine with it because, like, I think it is nuanced, and all the nuance is lost when reading stuff on social media. It's either
yeah.
totally for it or totally against it, and there's never an in between. So I don't know.
Well, maybe it's a good thing to have those conversations then. Just try not to get too heated and yell at each other. That's all.
Yeah.
sorry if my tone is aggressive. It's not.
No, that's
You're fine.
That's fine. All right.
If anyone who's Dennis is probably the aggressive one, he's ready to get into it from his other Twitter conversations.
Actually, I don't get involved in Twitter anymore. I'm done with it. I don't have any time to be angry about anything anymore.
Yeah.
I got stuff to do.
I mean, soon you'll be able to get angry at people on Blue Sky.
There we go. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think I'm going to fade this out. I'm gonna pause this and fade it out. And anything that anybody wants to what is the word we want to use here? Sell your shit, something like that. I don't know. Tell us where you're from, where to find out more about everyone.
My game, City of Murals, you could go wishlist it on Steam. That would be awesome for me. I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, we even played
Cool.
City of Murals, the first episode. So,
Okay.
Priel, you want people to buy your AI art game?
By the time it comes out, it won't have any AI art. But no, I'm not going to show it yet. I'm still trying to get publishers. I don't want to. If they change the name, I don't want to, talk about it yet.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Eric, you got anything you wanna sell?
Not much to show for Deeper yet, but keep an eye out.
Yeah, we're getting there.
It'll
We're
be out
getting
there fairly soon. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting the UI done, and we're getting some art in there.
Yeah.
And
And the music, we're getting the music.
Yep, and music. Oh, the music is so awesome
Yeah.
so far. And then Jerome, congratulations on your big entry into the AAA.
Thank you. Feel free to play our little indie game, Elder Scrolls Online.
All
All of your favorite platforms.
right.
Nice.
All right, that's it. I'm gonna kill it now. It's nice chatting with everyone, and we'll do it again in another month.
Sounds good.
We have an art version of this too. We're gonna do that in 2 weeks. So Quadra Art Talk Shop.
We should have had this conversation then.
Oh yeah, we probably will.
Sure.
We probably
There are
will.
there are no artists on this one, so yeah, that
Yeah.
we're primary artists, so that would have made a lot more sense. But
Yeah. I
have a
think
feeling.
I actually have talked to Laura about it, and she's like, what's all this bullshit about AR? And it's no big deal.
Let's just see some of the shit because it's really good.
All right, guys. Talk to you later.
See ya.
See
Cheers.
ya.